There's this book called it, yeah, there's this book called Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, um, which talks a lot about two systems that we have um, for decision making. We have like a system one and a system two, and the system one is sort of the quick and dirty, maybe the gut level kind of uh, way of making decisions. And then we have the more thoughtful, quote unquote, rational part of our brain, which is slower, um, more analytical, and that kind of stuff, which is the system two. Uh, I think that sometimes, particularly in nerdy circles, like in circles, in like the culture around math people and maybe physics people as well, I think there's a lot of value placed on slower, more methodical thinking and decision making. But I'm kind of with you, Kramer. I've grown to appreciate going with the gut and being okay with that, and not always necessarily trying to maximize, min max your life, that sort of thing. What parts of Algebra 1 are used in Algebra 2? Yeah, I'm not totally sure what the delineation is. I would imagine Algebra 1 means like basic linear equations. Maybe some basic stuff with lines in the plane, doing geometry, but algebraically. Um, Maybe like quadratic equations. I'm not sure. But I would say that Algebra 2 is just basically, it should just be like a straightforward extension of what you learn in Algebra 1. So, like in Algebra 1, you might study solutions to equations like 5x plus 3 equals 12. I don't know. Tell me if this is too simple for what you're thinking. Whereas in Algebra 2, you start getting into more sophisticated things like 5x squared plus 3x plus 2 equals Was it worth financially? Oh, so like, have I calculated the financial impact? Really haven't, but I'm in a really comfortable spot right now financially. Um, I'm firmly upper middle class, I would say. Um, and I have a tremendous amount of free time, which is actually something I value more than money. I know that isn't necessarily uh, where other people's values are at, but that's where I'm at. And I really value being able to spend time with my friends and my family and stuff like that. Being able to read books, being able to hang out on the internet. I like the freedom of having that free time, which is not a financial thing, but certainly my finances are what enable that kind of lifestyle. So in that sense, I'm really happy with where I'm at financially. I'm not like, a multimillionaire or anything like that, right? But like I said, I've got a house that I really like. I'm really comfortable. I've got a family that I'm taking care of. I've got everything that I really want. So in that sense, I'm very happy. Yeah, I have my wife and my two boys. I mean, I'm just not programmed for like wanting things like a yacht or like a private plane or something like that. That's not something I'm interested in at all. I just want to keep my family and myself like happy, healthy, and secure, and all of that. Um, I think that learning math and getting a math degree and becoming a math professor and all of that are all ingredients which make for a very satisfying life. But yeah, I really understand though the desire for like wealth, because it's one of those things that really I mean, there's the trope that like money can't buy you happiness or whatever. And I mean maybe there's something to that. On the other hand, like without money, I think it's real tough to be super happy. But that's just my opinion. Like you do hear stories about very poor communities, right? Very very poor communities where the people are just sort of making do with what they have, and they're having a really great time doing it because like it, when you have the same lot in life as the other people in your community, like that forms bonds between human beings which are really strong and fulfilling, I think. Maybe not having to worry about money is a part of their happiness. Yeah, I agree with you, right? Like maybe it's the chase for obscene amounts of wealth that cause people to like work themselves to death, so to speak. Like 80-hour work weeks, always stressed out. They develop ulcers. They can't sleep at night. They ruin their relationships with even their closest family members and friends, all out of a pursuit of this, all out of a in the pursuit of this particular conception of happiness that they have. That seems like not a great outcome for a life. To me, like on the other hand, I can see that by doing these things,